Hi, this is Samuel Jeremiah. I work as a software engineer and I will be sharing my Python class live stream videos in order to receive notification when I upload the next class video. Please make sure to subscribe. Thank you. What is Python? Python is a high-level programming language. I repeat, Python is a high-level programming language. If you can get a book you want to jot, no problem. And if you watch the video, you can have a book. The best thing is that you should jot down. Whatever you write, it is very difficult for you to forget that thing. But most things you hear, you can easily forget. So while watching the video back, you can have a book for this class. Python is a high-level programming language and we use Python for different things. We use Python for automation. We use Python for AI. We use Python for applications and websites. We use Python in gaming. We use Python for different things. And the reason why I always teach Python, or the reason why I fall in love with Python, is because Python is very simple. After the installation of Python, Python is actually an interpreter. Python is an interpreter. After installing this Python, we need an IDE. We need an environment. For instance, if you want to type a document, you cannot just open your music player and be typing the document, because that software is not meant for document typing. What you do if you want to type a document, you go to your word processor. We call them word processor. They are software for processing our words. They are software for writing documents. If you want to make a design, graphics design, you cannot go to a word processor and go and do that, because that software is not meant for that. Please, that person that is raising up, and if you have a question, please unmute your mic and ask me the question. Once I share my screen, I will not be able to see your hand. You can, if you have a question or you have any issue, just unmute and let me know the issue you are having. So, as I was saying, now we need an environment where we can write our code. If you want to design graphics, you want to put different bitmaps together, you can use Photoshop, you can use CorelDRAW or different graphics software. Now, for writing a program, for writing a code, we need a code editor. We need an environment. That was the reason why we installed Visual Studio Code. We have different environments we use. I use PyCharm. I use Visual Studio Code. I use Atom. I use Sublime. But the reason why I preferred Visual Studio Code is because Visual Studio Code has an interface that is user-friendly. You can easily understand it, and it is very powerful. It doesn't break. That's the reason why I preferred using Visual Studio Code. So if you are using Atom, you can follow along, there's no problem. But I prefer, when I'm using a particular software, I prefer you using that same software so that we'll go along. If you have a problem, I know where to tackle it immediately. So after the installation of this thing, the first thing we are going to do, let me share my screen now. We are going to create a folder where our files and everything is going to be stored. Where our file, everything is going to be stored. So we are going to create a folder. We'll go to the desktop now. We are going to create a folder for that. Please, the moment you cannot hear me again, just make sure you just signal to me, please, so that I would know and I will come back to rectify that. So good. Can everybody see my desktop now? Can everybody see my desktop? Okay, good.
Yes,
Now let's
sir.
create a folder for this class so that all our code will be stored inside this folder for arrangement. Okay, so now I'm going to create a folder. I believe we all know how to create. I wanted to use shortcut. Let me do it the simple way. Please help me mute your mic. Help me mute your mic. Please help me mute your mic, okay? This is the simple way of doing it. I wanted to use shortcuts, but let me do it like this in case you don't know how to create a folder. Now we are going to name it batch B. Let's name it batch B underscore Python. Batch B underscore Python. Okay? So this is our folder. This is where our files, our Python file will be stored. Let me put it here. So this is where our files will be stored. Now from this place, I'm going to open Visual Studio Code. But if I open Visual Studio Code, this is my Visual Studio Code. If I click on it to open now, I have another folder that I have different folders here that I work with. So it may just pick one of those folder and open the file I have there already. To avoid that, I want to open Visual Studio Code from this place, from this folder. So I'll open the folder. I've opened my folder. Then in this terminal here, where the name or the address is shown, the name of your folder is shown, you click on it. Once you click on it, you can press Ctrl A to make sure everything is highlighted. Then you press CMD, which means command. Press CMD for command and press enter. A command prompt is going to be open. This is our command prompt. Can everybody see the command prompt? Can everybody see this? Okay, good.
Yes,
Now
sir.
from this place, what you will just type is just code. You write code and put full stop at the end. You write code space and then a dot. Then you press enter. Code space dot enter. Code space dot enter. From this interface, what you are doing now is, because the reason why I open it like this is because whenever I want to work, I create a folder for my work so that my work will be organized. Now, if I just click on Visual Studio Code, it's going to open the last folder I worked on. And I don't want that to happen because you'll be confused seeing different files. So I open this from my folder, and it is advisable whenever you are working with different projects, it is advisable for you to open your code editor from or inside your folder, so that whatever you now store will be inside the folder. You can see our Visual Studio Code is open. Our Visual Studio Code is open. Now we can close this. Let me close this. Okay. So this is our Visual Studio Code. I believe everybody is used to, if you have installed if you have installed Visual Studio Code, then this interface should not be difficult or should not be strange for us. We should be used to this interface. Now, if you look at this interface, let me explain this interface. Okay, it's going to come with like a welcoming hint or help or message. You can see at the bottom here is showing show welcome page on start. Whenever you start a new thing like that, it doesn't understand anything. There's no any previous work on it, so it's going to welcome you. Now, if you want to create a new file, you can create from here. This place means you want to create a new file. This place means you want to open an existing file. This place means you want to open a folder. This place means you want to gig a repository. We are going to learn about that, how to do this. This work with your GitHub. We are going to learn about this, but not now. So for now, I don't need this interface. Let's close it. In case your own did not show this interface, so we should close it. Now, if you come to the left hand side here, you can see the name of our folder, Batch B Python, written in capital letter. This is the name of our folder, written in capital letter. Now, if you just hover on the name, you are going to see the name. Then you see some buttons like 4 at the right hand side. The first one, if you put your arrow on it, is going to show you what the first one does. The first one, is to write a new file, just like what I showed us in the welcoming here. The first one is to have a new file. You can see new file. The second one is to have a new folder. The third one is to do what? Is to refresh it. Why? This one is to collapse this. If you don't want this to show again, maybe you are working and the window, you have written a lot of code and the thing is jam-packed. You want your viewers, like I used to do it very well. If I want people to see what I'm writing very well, if I want to zoom it out, I used to close this so that people will see what I'm writing very well. I will still do that today. So what do we do first? Let's create a file. We want to write a file. What is a file? A file is that thing that keeps your record. That is a file. Now, if you want to type, after going to your Microsoft Word, you open a new document. After typing it, if you save it, you have saved as a file. Is a file, but that file is for what? Is a document, because at the end of it, there's something we call an extension, which is going to have the name you gave to it, dot something. That dot is an extension for that type of document. Now we are going to click this button Now we have an environment waiting for us to type the name of the program we want. The name of the program we want. Let's type it hello because we are just starting. So the name of our document or of our file is hello. But at the end, you have to let Visual Studio Code understand that, okay, this is a Python file. This is not a document. This is not a text. Don't forget, whenever you are writing a new file, make sure you put an extension. And what is the extension? After giving the name of the file, any name you want, make sure you put .py. That is for Python. The extension for Python code is .py. Anywhere you see any code or any name and you see .py at the end of it, it means that code is a Python code. If you see CorelDRAW used to be C something. For Microsoft Word, it used to be DOC, I think. Yes. For Excel, it has its own file. We call them extension. For music, you have MP3. For video, you have MP4. You can have a wave as well. Dot is an extension. That dot, something it has, is an extension. Now, this is the one we want to make use of. .py, which is the extension. So you press your enter. Now, you can see we now have our interface to write our code. We now have lines. This one is the first line. After writing, we press enter. The second line will appear. After writing, we press another thing. The third line will appear. We press, that is how the lines will be coming up. As we are writing and pressing enter, the lines will be appearing. The lines will be appearing. So, this is just the basic of it. Now, do we have a question before we go into writing of our code? Do we have any question? Is there anything confusing from the beginning of where we start to this particular place?
Yes. First and foremost, I think you're a little bit fast. Then, secondly, I have not created the. I was trying to create a folder on my Windows 10, but I don't know if where you created your folder is different from where I created mine. So I'm not really following when it comes to opening the folder in that Visual Studio.
All right, that's where you are.
So can you just help?
All right, there's no issue. Sorry for being somehow fast. It's because we entered the class late. I really want us to cover. I have a target of where I want us to get to tonight, but there's no big deal. So let me minimize this. Let me close this. I think I closed this, but you refuse to close. Now, this is a folder. You create a folder. You can see I have different folders for different purposes here. You create your folder. If you don't know how to create your folder, just right click. You'll see new. You scroll down. You see new. Look at new. You click on the new. It's going to bring another dialog box. Look at it. You click on folder and your folder will come up. You can put the name. You can put any name you like and press enter. You have created a folder. Now we want our file to be inside the folder. So because of that, we open our Visual Studio Code from the folder. So we enter inside the folder. First step, enter into the folder. That means open the folder you have created. You can see this is an empty folder. There's nothing inside. Now the second thing, on this bar here, this is an address bar that shows the address of anything that is here. Anything you put here, the address, if you click on this place, it's going to show the address and the name of those files that are here. Let me click it. You can see, can you see the screen? You can see C, this is my memory, /user. Hello, can you see it? Hello?
Your screen is minimized.
I think it's from your place. Is my screen minimized from everybody's view? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
It's minimized.
But I'm seeing it fully.
I think is your network. Just try to log out and come back in, please. Please let me hear like two people. If your screen is minimized, maybe you cannot see my screen.
Okay.
Has it been restored?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the address, look at the address bar, look at the name there, look at the C, column, slash. We have the users. Please help me mute your mic. We have slash, user, desktop, then the name of the folder I created. Please help me mute your mic. Good. You can see what's the name of the file, the name of the folder I have created now. Now, what I am doing, literally what I'm doing now is that I want to open Visual Studio Code from this place. Then I'll click on it. It's going to show me the address. I don't need the address. What I'm going to do is just to put C. I will write CMD from my keyboard. CMD. CMD, even if you go to your search bar here and press CMD, it's going to bring your command prompt. Every laptop, desktop has a command prompt. Your laptop, your system has a command prompt. Once you press the CMD, press enter. The command prompt is going to appear. Look at the command prompt. Can everybody see the command prompt? Hello, please, I need a response so that I will be sure we are going together. Okay?
Yes, I can.
Good.
Yes,
so now
we can see.
what you are okay, good. Now what you are going to write now, you will just write code and write full stop. Code is space, then full stop and press enter. Why do we write code? In my batch A, someone asked a very good question and said, if you write code and if you have some other code editor on it and you write code, will it open Visual Studio Code or open other code editor? And the answer I gave to that question was that it's going to open just Visual Studio Code because Visual Studio Code has a name inside your system that is registered, that is code. So whenever you reference to code, you means Visual Studio Code. Whenever you reference to code on your laptop, once you install Visual Studio Code, there is a name. I'm going to show us someday, but not today. There is a folder that will be created, and this folder's name is code. So whenever you reference to code from this your interface, you are saying, okay, open Visual Studio Code. If you write another name now, is another thing that will come up. But now it is Visual Studio Code we want. If you click enter now, your Visual Studio is going to open. I don't want to click it. Why? Because you know we have created a folder already and we are inside the folder. I only go back a little bit to explain. Now we are back into our Visual Studio Code. Do we understand up to this level? Hello? Okay?
Yes, we understand.
Good. So I shouldn't click. I've already clicked. Is it I shouldn't click?
You said?
I clicked after putting the code.
After writing code, you leave a space. You press your space bar and you put full stop. Then you press enter. It's going to take you to Visual Studio Code.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So you okay?
Okay. Yes, I can see it.
Now to make this class a little bit fast, what we are going to do is that you see when I'm explaining, you only let me know what you don't understand. You get it. It's not as if you'll be writing the code immediately on your own laptop. You know, when you are writing it like that, you encounter some errors and you'll be like, the thing may be drawing us back. But anything you don't understand, you just let me know. I will explain it. You can be jotting down. Once you are watching the video again, if you have any question or maybe there's something you don't understand, you can just come to my DM, or when we are meeting in the class again, you can ask the question so that it will make our work more faster. So we are going to write our first code.
Okay.
We are going to write our first code, and that first code is print. And what we are going to print is our name. We are going to write our first program. Now let's write our first program. I will say print. I will say. Please help me mute your mic, please. Print. Help me mute your mic, please. Now print your name.
Okay.
If you are working on the system now, you can quickly do that. If you are on the, okay, there's no need to do it now. I will give everybody a chance that everybody is going to show it and show us what you have printed. Everybody will do this tonight and I'm going to see it. So what we want to do, the first thing is to print our name. Let me print my name. I'm Samuel Jeremiah, and I'm going to explain this. What is the meaning of print and why am I saying print Samuel Jeremiah? Is it the print we have on a printer? Is it that of the printer that used to output a paper? No. This print is what output our result. After writing, for instance, you have a calculator. I used to make reference to calculator very well. You have a calculator and you have pressed 1 plus 2. If you don't use the equal function or the equal on your calculator, the equal button, if you don't press it, your answer will not be displayed. Do we agree with that? On your calculator, if you make an operation and you do not press the equal, the result will not come. So the result you are pressing has something under it. Is what the result is, what is that equal to, is what is going to bring out the result. It outputs out the result. So in Python, we call that function that does that, we call it print. If anything we have done and we want the result to come out, it is the print function we use. It is this print function we use. And how do we use print function? We are still going to come to that. It's just a very small thing like this. It's just something like this. It's just something like this. This is print function. Anything that is inside this bracket here is going to output that thing. You will not see this print. It will not tell you print again. It will only output out whatever is inside this. Let me make my screen more bigger so that you can see it very well. Okay? Can everybody see it very well now? Are we still together? Okay, good.
Yes,
so this is our print statement that is going to do that. Now I want to write. Now I wrote my name. I want my name to be output out here. I want my name to be printed, to come out. After writing my name on the calculator, when I press equal to, I want my name to be displayed. That is the meaning of print. That print outputs your result. Now I want it. Look at this button here that is like a play button. That is where to run your code. You can say run or debug. This is where to run your code. You can run your code from this place. Now you will not see this run code on your own. What you are going to see is run Python code. I'm going to show us, we have different extensions. I have 2 extensions here to run my code. I have Python to run my code, and I also have Code Runner to run my code. So I can use any of it. This is the one that will be on your own. So let me use it. Let me use the one you are going to have on your own to run it so that you will not be confused. You give it a little bit time and the result is going to come at the terminal. The result will be out. You are going to see whatever you give the command to come out. You are going to see it. Okay, we are waiting for our result now. Now, can everybody see the results? Look at here. Look at this terminal. Look at Samuel Jeremiah. Look at it. I highlighted it. Can everybody see this?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, this is the result. You know, we said print Samuel Jeremiah, which means output Samuel Jeremiah, and this is the result of that. This is it. We can see. So this is our print statement. This is the first thing you are going to write for me. You are going to write it. I'll give you the chance to do that. I'm going to give you the chance to do that. Let me reduce this. But before we do that, I only made mention of this because we'll be using it. I have cleared the screen. Now, what do we want to do? Let me explain some things we need to know. Some basic of Python. We have to know some particular things. The first thing we are going to be learning tonight is what we call a variable. The first thing we are going to be learning tonight is what we call a variable. Please, if you are not asking a question, you can just mute your mic so that it's not going to distract us. I'm recording this video, please. Now we have a variable. What is a variable? A variable is a container used in storing a data. Let me write the definition here. Let me write it here. Variables, let me say, are container used in storing data. That's the definition of variable. Variables are container used in storing data. So a single variable is a container that is used to store a data. Now let's declare a variable. Let's write a variable that is going to store a data. Variable, from this definition, we have two parts. We have the left hand side and we have the right hand side. From this definition here, we said variable are containers. From here is one side, is a container used in doing what? Storing data. We have two sides here. It is two words, which means it is this that does this. It is this that have this. Do we understand that? Now let me declare a variable before I'll ask the question. Maybe we understand or not, so that we are going to get it very well. For instance, if I said price is equals to 50. If I said price is equals to 50, can everybody see the screen? I said price is equals to 50. Good. Now, look at this price is a name. I use it to hold something, which means this is my container. This price is my container. This is the left hand side, holding a value and or a data. What is the data is holding? Is holding 50. 50 is my data. 50 is my data. I have two sides here. I have the left hand side and the right hand side. The left hand side is a variable. And what is this variable? What is the function of this variable? Is to hold a value. For instance, you have a cup, which we all know we use cup in for drinking water. You have a cup and you now put water inside. The cup is a container. What is inside it is a data, or is the value. You can use data or value. It's still the same. What is inside the cup is a data or a value. When we are still in school, they used to give us something like this. They will say x is equals to 5. They may say look for p, or what is p, or what is y. Now this x is a variable holding a value. What is the value this variable is holding? This variable is holding 5. 5 is the value or data this x is holding. So whenever we have reference to x, we are referencing to what? To 5. Whenever we are referencing to price, rather, we reference to 50. For instance, like the cup I use as an illustration. If there is water inside a cup, and you now pick a nail and make a hole on the cup, the water inside, what will happen to the water inside? Please, I need an answer. What will happen to the water inside?
To pour out.
The water is going to
To drain out.
The water is going to pour. It's going to pour out. So which means, is it the water you touch? You did not touch the water. Which means you did not touch what is inside. You did not touch the value. You did not touch what? You did not touch the value or the data. What you touched was the container. But you know the container is actually the power of your value. So if anything happens to your container, it will reflect on the value. If I said x is 50, it is not, that means that x is holding a value and that value is 50. If I said, okay, like as I am now, my name is Jeremiah. Someone just called me Jeremiah. The person saw me and called my name. My name is not like the name works together with me. If they call the name, I'm going to answer because I am Jeremiah. But that body, this my body is not Jeremiah. It's the name that is Jeremiah. But you know the two works together, because if you call Jeremiah, I'm going to answer you. I'm still the one that will answer you. Do we understand what a variable is now? A variable is a container that is used in storing a data. Let me put value here because I used to use or a data or value. I used to use value very well so that I will not be confused. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? Okay?
Yes, yes.
Good. Now,
yes.
Why do we use a variable? Variable is very, very important when it comes to programming, not only for Python. Even in Java, you declare variable. When you write a variable, it means you declare variable because most of the times I will be using some terms. I may be using declare a variable. It means you should write a variable, maybe that will hold something or that is going to be empty. So whenever I use the word declare, it means write a variable. Now, even in Java, we declare variable. In Python, we declare variable. In C++, we declare variable. In C#, we declare variable. In JavaScript, we declare variable. There is not any programming language you work with. Is it Ruby? You must declare variable. Because variable is very, very important. You cannot just write 50. What if you write 50 and you want to write another value? You want to write 5. How can you track this? Because this 50 is not having a name. 5 is not having a name. So their variable is their name, which you can use to what? To tackle each number. I can have 50 here, I have 50 here, and it is meant for 3 different people. Now, if I don't have a variable that is holding this, I'm going to have issue. Because if I reference to 150, all the 50 will come out. Because I have no name to call so that this 50 will be addressed. They are all 50. But for instance, if I have y is equals to 50, p is equals to 50, j is equals to 50. Now I have name. If I now say I can now say y plus 2. Please, who will tell me the result of this y plus 2? Okay, let me do like this.
100.
Y plus 2, not times 2. No.
100.
Y plus 2, not times.
100.
Y plus 2, no. Y plus 2, not 52, not
52.
times 2. Good.
52.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yes, don't worry, don't be convinced, we are going to get there. Now, look at this now. If I want to deal with each of these now, I can actually add a number to them and it's going to work because I have a name to call for them. They have a variable, each has a variable. If I said y plus 2, y is going to give me 52, which means this y now is 52. If I now say p plus 10, this is p plus 10 will give me what? P plus 10 will give me 60. If I said j plus 20 will give me 70, which means the number, I have added a number to each of these values that was the same. Now they are no more the same value. But what if they don't have a variable? How will I add it? You can see the reason why variable is very important in programming. Do we understand this? Good.
Yes.
So our first thing is how to do what? How to declare a variable. Now let me clean these things, then we output our variable and see what we got. Now we said price is what? Is 50. How do we output out our price? How do we print and 50 will come out? What do we do? I told us that print statement or function is used to output out our results. Now you want to output out 50, which is the value for this print. You don't need to come here and write 50. No, you write the name. You only deal with the name and it's going to affect the value. Now look at what I did, everyone. You can see. Can we see just this 2 lines of code? Price is equals to 50 and I said print price. Can everybody see this before I run it? Can everybody see this? Hello?
Yes,
yes, we can see you.
Now let me run this. Let's see what we got. Okay, our result is coming up. Want to know what is going to come out, want to know our results. Now look at the result, everybody. Let me shift this up so that we can see it very well. Look at the result from here, everybody. Look at it. I highlighted it. The result is what? Can you tell us what the result is if you can see it? What's the result we got? Good.
50.
Now imagine we said print price and it was 50 that comes out. Good. So whenever you want to deal with the value, and the value is the most important thing. The variable is just the container. But you use the container name to what? To deal with your value. Let's give another example here. For instance, we have price is 50 and we now have tax. Let's say tax is 10. Now let's imagine our price, maybe our salary is 50,000 naira and our tax is 10,000 naira. After you collect your salary, if you will collect your salary and maybe they are deducting your tax from your salary in the company you work with, how much will you have? How much are you going to go home with? Which means if we remove 10 from 50, how much are we going to have? Okay, good. Sorry, I'm asking this question so that I will know we are going together, please. So that's the reason why I'm asking the question, so that we will know we are moving together. Now look at what I did here. I want the result to come out. I declared another variable. I call it x. You see, when you are declaring a variable, there is a law behind it. Whenever you are declaring a variable, you can use any name. You can give your variable any name, but make sure the name you are giving your variable is a good name. Make sure the name you give your variable is a good name. Now, before I continue, if you check your screen very well, I believe it will be showing a time that the class is about to end. This is what we do. We have the first section and the second section. The first section is about to collapse now, is about to end, and I'm going to create another link. I will send it immediately right now. So be in the group, I will send it immediately. You click on it and join again. We'll continue from where we stop for the second section. Do we get that? Do we get that, everyone? Okay?
Yes.
Good. So if you check your screen now, you will see that the class, I think it should remain like maybe 10 minutes or 9 minutes or 8 minutes to end. So I will end it here before it ends by itself. I will end it here. Then I'll create a link, another link now. I will send it immediately. We'll click it and join. Then we'll continue from where we stop. So, which means we have used the first 1 hour. The class is supposed to be 2 hours. We have used the first 1 hour. We are going for the second hour now. You can say remain 10 minutes. So you can even leave the class now. You can leave the class now, but I'm going to end it so that we'll wait for. Okay, so I believe everybody can see my screen now. I'm in Visual Studio Code. Can we see it? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can see it. Yes, sir.
Yes,
all right.
We can see.
All right, now what did I do here from where we stop? I have a variable price that is holding a value or a data 50. I have another variable tax that is holding a data 10. I now have another variable x that is holding these two variables rather. is holding price and is also holding x, which means this variable now, this x, is storing the result from 50 minus 10, which is price minus tax. Look at, I have a minus here, which means price minus tax is storing as x. Now, if I want to have my result, printed now, I will just say print x. I will say print x. Look at the code very well before I run it. Let me explain it from this line 4. I have a variable that is holding 50. For instance, okay, maybe I should use human being as an example. I have, okay, let me say, I have James here. It's just for illustration. I have James here and I have Paul here. Now, the father, let me say X is their father because James and Paul came from X. Now it's just an illustration. Now this X now is a variable, which means you can minus a variable from a variable. You can plus a variable to another variable. You can times a variable to a variable. If you are timesing a variable, you actually know is a number you are dealing with. For instance, now if I said price minus tax, I actually know I'm saying 50 minus 10. Do we understand that? And if I want to have my result, what do I press? I say print x, which x, since x is the variable that is holding the operation between price and tax. Do we understand it? Okay,
yes,
good. Now let me run my code. Let's see what the result is going to be. Good. Now look at the results at the terminal here. Look at it. I highlighted it. Can everybody see? We have 40. Good.
Yes.
Now, good. Now, what do we do here? What did we do here? What we did was that we uses a variable to affect the value it's having. That is just a simple thing we did here. Instead of us to say 50 minus 10, we said price minus tax. It's the same thing as 50 minus 10. But in programming, you don't just say 10 minus this or use a number, because you can have different numbers, just like the illustration I made before in the previous class, which I said if we have this, we'll not be able to add this number to this one. It's going to call all those numbers together. But once you have a variable that has different name, you adding or subtracting a variable from another variable will give you your perfect answer. So this is, I'm just showing us how to declare a variable. Now we have what we call the rules in declaring a variable. The rules in declaring a variable. Number one rules: whenever you are declaring a variable, let your variable be a meaningful name. For instance, where we have x here now, we got the right answer, but it is not good. Like whenever you are writing code and maybe you are showing your code or you are working together with different programmers, if they see you declaring variable with x, y, p, they will see you as a baby in programming and they will tell you your code is not clean. I don't know, maybe you have heard it before, where they will tell you someone is writing code that is not clean. Your code is not clean. Once it may be your variable, you use a very good naming convention in declaring your variable. If you are going to declare a variable that will hold a number, you can write num. If you have different numbers that are many, you can write num and put 1. Anybody that see this will know that this is number 1. You can write another one and say num 2. Anybody that see this will know that this is number 2. You want to write a variable that will hold someone's first name, and you are writing f is equals to Samuel. As a programmer, this is not good. You don't use it. It is wrong. Instead of using f, why not write f name? Why not use f name? That's going to, this is more okay. Anybody that see this f name, it means first name, L name, last name. So this is a very good naming convention. you use a good name. In fact, you yourself, if you are declaring variable and you are using XY, in fact, when your code get complicated, you will have serious issue. When you are writing code that is more than 50 downward, you will have issue because you will use X, you will not know you have used X, you will come and use that X again, and that X will be contradicting, will be giving you serious issue. So because of that, you use a very good naming convention that you yourself, whenever you see the code, you know what the variable is going to hold. You know the value you are expecting. Whenever you see a variable, you know what it means. So this is one of the rules. Number 2 is that whenever you are declaring a variable, it is good. You can do it, you can use it. You can start with a capital letter, but it is not lawful for you to start with a capital letter. Let your variable be in small letter. I have my reason. The reason is because if you set your variable, let's come to this place where we have price and tax here. For instance now, and I want to say X is equals to this, and I'll put price here to be capital letter. The P here, the first letter to the capital letter. You can see it has underlined it. It is error. And most of the times whenever you are writing and you capitalize a particular letter, you can forget, and when you want to output it, you may not put it, and it will give you error. You will not be able to debug your error. So because of that, it is advisable your variable should be in small letter. You can see my price was in small letter, my tax is in small letter, my X is also small letter, my num1 is small letter, num2 is small letter, F name is small letter, everything here is small letter. So it is advisable your variable, not your value. Your value can be anything, but your variable, this is the variable, this is the value. Your variable should be in small letter, not in capital letter. That's law 2. 3, don't start with a number. For instance, you want to declare a variable, you now say 56 or 57 Paul. This is wrong. This is error. This is error. You can even see it's changed the color of Paul and leave that of 57. It is an error. You don't start declaring your variable with a number. Don't declare a variable starting with a number. You can see this one. I ended it with a number. I include a number. Good. But don't start with a number. You can add a number to it at the end. It's good if you know what you're doing. But don't start it with a number. It is an error. In fact, your code will not run. It will give you error. Now, 4 is that whenever you want to separate your words in variable, for instance, I said first name, last name. For instance, you want to declare your variable very well so that we'll understand. You now say first name is equals to this. This is an error. You must not leave a space. You must not leave a space here. Python programming language counts this space as part of your letter and they will give you error. This space here is not allowed. What you can do, you can add this space together like this. Look at it. You can add the words together. You actually know that first is a word. Name is a word. You cannot separate your word like this. For variable, not for other things. For variable, whenever you are declaring a variable, you don't separate your words. It's going to give you serious error. It's either you close this, you don't leave a space. It's either you close the space, you jam pack the words together to be put together. The words are put together now. If you notice this place, you can see first name. There is no any space between them. They are now pulled together. This is correct. This too is correct. There's another method you can use. Use underscore. This one too is correct. First underscore name. These are how you can give a good name to your variable that are acceptable. Look at it. If you just want something full and something detailed, then you use underscore to bind it together. Don't leave a space for your variable. Do we understand that, everybody? Are we still together?
Yes.
Do we understand? Okay, yes. Good. There's only one person that is responding to me. Please, do we understand everyone? I want to get we understand, because this part of programming variable is very, very important. We must understand it. Do we all understand this? If you don't understand, signify. Because if you don't signify now, we are building on whatever we do every day, and later you will come and tell me you don't understand this thing, and I will not be able to explain to you again. This is the time you can ask, and I'm going to explain. Now we are in variable. Do we understand this? Other people, do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Go through it, I beg, briefly, for some of us.
Okay. I said, whenever you are declaring a variable, don't start with a number. It is an error.
Okay.
In your variable, don't leave a space. Is an error. It's either you bind the words together, just like we have first and last name. Leaving a space between them is an error, because Python don't understand what you are doing. It's counting the space. Is an error. It's either you bind it together, you have the name written together, first name without any space. You don't give a space whenever you are declaring a variable. It's either you bind it together, it should be directly like this, or you space it using underscore. Using underscore. This is underscore. I use underscore to hold the words together. You can use underscore not more than 2 times. First name, let me say R. This is acceptable, it's still correct, because there's no space. You use underscore to represent the space. It's still acceptable, but don't leave a space. It's going to give you error. Don't start with a number. It will give you error. It is advisable to start with small, for your variable to be in small letter. It is not a law. If you know what you are doing, you can make your variable to start with capital letter or everything in capital letter. But it is good and advisable for you to start your variable for you to write your variable everything in small letter, so that you will not have error later. Do we understand this?
Yeah. Talking about it's advisable. I just try to resonate with our emails. I notice our emails, there are no space.
Hello, I cannot hear you again. Okay?
So I'm just trying to use it.
Okay, good. Just like what this person said, our email. Your email, you cannot see a space in your email. And me, I have never seen an email that starts with a capital letter. I have never seen it. Even website, if you notice, if you have your website and your domain name, please help me mute your mic. Your website, your domain name, that is the name of your website, can never start with a capital letter and can never have a space. In your website, you either have something, for instance, my website now, I say Techmari Technology. Techmari Technology, instead of giving a space here. But you cannot do that. Even on your domain name for your website, you cannot do that. So it's just like that. It's just like that. So whenever you are declaring a variable, always remember this thing. It is very, very important. It is very, very important. Now, the next thing we are going to do today, which is where we are going to stop for today, I'm going to give us a classwork, and that will be the end for this class for today, so that I don't want to rush us. I don't want to be too fast. I want us to assimilate every step. Is what we call input. I've talked about variable. Now let me write it here. Let me write input. All these ones I use as an illustration. Let me cancel it. Input is very interesting. And what is input? Input is just a method of you allowing a user to enter what they want instead of declaring a constant value for them. For instance, or let me repeat again, input allows you or allows the user to enter what they want, the value or the data they want, without you declaring a constant value for them. For instance, now you can see that this price is 50, and the price, nothing can change in the 50, is there already. What if you want a user to enter their salary, and we have different staff in a company? All of them cannot be receiving 50,000 naira. There will be some that will be receiving 15, some will be receiving more than 50. Then if you are now writing it like this, which means you will be writing Paul 50, Peter 20. No, it is not all the time we do this. Most of the time we allow the user to enter what they want. Like your calculator, let me use calculator as an example again. On your calculator, you want to times 3 times 4. The 3 is not there already. It's only the button. You have different buttons. You type whatever you want. If you press 3, 3 will show on your screen. You press plus, it will show. You press 5, it will show. Which means it allows the user to press whatever they want. Now you allowing your user to enter the number manually is using the function called input. Now, for instance, now you see these two, this price for 50. I want the user to enter anything. I don't want to use 50. I want the user to enter anything they like, not just 50. What will I do? I will clear this. I will write input. Look at it. I will write input. Let me now give the user int. Let me say enter your salary. Enter your salary. Now the tax, I don't know the tax. Tax is per percentage, or I don't know the way they divide it. I want the user to enter the tax, or the company to enter their tax. I'll write input again. Inside this input, I will say enter your tax rate. Enter your tax rate. Now look at this, everybody. Look at the screen, everybody. We have price. Now they can enter whatever they will like. They may enter 50, they may enter another number, and we are not going to have any error. The tax here, they can enter any number and it will still save here. Let me put something, okay? Let me put anything. Do we understand this? It's still the same. Do we understand this? Hello? Okay, let me run it. We'll understand better now when I run it. Let me run it. Just monitor what is going to happen now. Monitor what is going to happen. Before, we will just run it and it will give us the result directly. Coming to this place, look at what happened. Look at it. It's telling me that I should enter salary instead of giving me the number, but there's no any number here. Now it's telling me to enter salary. Look at it. Because I wrote enter your salary. Look at it, enter salary. Let's now imagine my salary is what? 50,000 naira. You can say I'm entering this from my keyboard. I'm pressing it. It allows me, this input function, this input I wrote allows me to enter it directly. For instance, the first time we enter 50, let me enter 50 so that I will not be confused. The second one, he said I press after I enter 50, I press enter. He now said enter the tax. That is, the second line is now working now. The tax was 10 that time. Let me enter 10. Let me press enter now. Look at, okay, it's giving me error here. I have error here. And the reason why I have error here is because this is the string. We'll get there. Let me rectify the error first. We'll get to that place. I don't want to confuse us. I actually know we'll get that error, but I don't want to confuse us. That is why I don't want to talk about it now. So we'll still understand. I will explain it. We'll still understand it better. Okay, let me run our code again. Let me run it again. We have error and we have rectified the error we have. Now we are running the code again. Okay, Now it's telling us to enter. Let me push this up a little bit. Look at, it said we should enter our salary, and our salary was 50,000 naira. 50. It said we should enter our tax rate. Our tax rate was what? Was 10. We enter 10. Look at it. Look at our result. Can you see the result? 40. Can everybody see 40 here? Good.
Yeah.
Now, what is the difference between this and the first time we wrote price 50, tax 10? Who can tell us what the difference, what you see as a difference here? The first time, our price we put 10. The second time, this tax we put, our price we put 50, and our tax we put 10. But here, we now enter it manually. Who can tell us, like, what do you notice from this? I'm asking us a question now.
When it comes to input, I think there is flexibility.
Okay.
I mean, yes. The second one, there is flexibility. As in, you have options.
Okay, good. Good. That is a good thing. That is a good answer. Now the other one makes it more easier, more flexible. We have option. We can, it's not only 50 we can enter, which means this is just like a calculator, minusing a number from a number. Let's run it again. We don't want to use 50 this time around. Maybe another person wants to use it. We now said, okay. We came to this place. He said we should enter our salary. This time around, this user, the salary is not 50,000 naira. Let's imagine the salary is 150. The salary is 150. Let me move it up so that we can see it very well. Okay. The salary of this user is 150. I have pressed 150. I press enter. The rate, let's say the rate, maybe the rate is just 15. That's 15,000 naira for instance. We'll press enter. Look at it. Look at our result. 135, which means a minus 15 from 150. Do we see this result, everyone?
Yeah.
Good. So now we can see that this is giving us the opportunity. This is giving us the opportunity to do what? To enter anything we like. Rather than having a constant 50 here and having a constant 10 here. So what is in play now is our input. Is this thing. Let me write it here the way I wrote the first one. Look at this. Input like this. It's just this. This is how to write your input. Okay. T is missing here. Good. This is how to write your input. And whatever that is inside the input, quoting it will be the int, what you want the user to enter, what will help the user. That, okay, this is what I want you to enter. Enter this thing. Do we understand this? Do we understand this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
I know this is the first class. It may look somehow. So once you attend like 3 classes, this will be you'll be getting it more better. This is the first class. You are just introduced to what you don't know before, so it looks more like rubbish or more tedious or more difficult. But as time goes on, as we move, you will see that this is very, very interesting, and this is very, very simple. It's just like English language that you can read and understand. Now, the reason why I put this int at the front of this place, this int now, we are still going to get there, but let me just explain so that the code will not look rough to you. The reason why I put it is that once I ask the user to enter their salary, another person can go and enter salary and mistakenly put age or put an alphabet. If such a person put an alphabet, we are going to have error, because what we are expecting is a number. It is not an alphabet. Now, for us not to have an error, I put int here, which means to convert anything the user enter, you should convert it to a number, to integer. This int means an integer, a number. That is the reason why I put this here. And you can see when I have not put it, we have error. If I want the user to enter letter, alphabet, sentence, I will not put this int. I'll put string. We are going to get there. I just explain it. If I want the
so why are we using X? Why can't we use another thing? Can we use another, like when you say X equals
okay,
price?
let's use another thing. Let's use another thing. Let's remove the X. What should we use? What should we use? You can use any name for your variable. Okay.
Any other alphabet that represents.
Okay, let's use should we use engine or result? No, let's use result. I think I like that. Let's put result. Look at result is equals to print, that is price minus tax. Now print what? Print X as
price minus
now
tax.
Print now is not going to be X again. Our print is now going to be what? Result. Our X is now going to be result. You know, we don't have X again. Our print will now be result. So now let's run it and see. Maybe we'll see we are still on the same line, or we are going to have error. But I'm very sure we don't have any error because we are very, very correct. We only change the variable name. Okay, our code is coming up. Now it's still the same. You can see it said we should enter our salary. Now we can now enter anything. Let me enter 30. Let me enter a number that is even more than this time around. Let me enter 3080. Press enter. Look at what I have, minus 50. You can see we are not having any error.
So does it mean that Python recognizes whether you put X or whether you put results? You know, are there reserved words or something like that? Is there it when how are we sure? You know, how does it recognize anyone?
We have what we call keywords that are reserved words. And what are the keywords? Like this print. Look at this print. If you look at this print now, you'll see that the color is different from this variable. Print is a function that is inbuilt function already. So you cannot come to this place and come and use print. No, you cannot use it. There are some keywords, we call them keywords. They are reserved words in Python, which I will be sharing gradually as we go. Like print, we cannot use print. For instance, now if you want to use true. True is a Boolean action. You cannot use true. You can see it has a color without me even writing anything. You cannot use it. If you want to use, let me try to use another thing. If you want to use true, false, you cannot use them. If you want to use in, you cannot use them. It's taken already. You want to use no. Okay, you want to use none. You can say none came out. Not, you cannot use it. It's out already. There are some keywords like that. We are going to be using it. When we are using it, I will be reminding us that these are keywords that we don't use. Impute is part of it. Impute, we don't use it. They are keywords. They are reserved already. But apart from them, name. For instance, now if you want to use print, you can even see that this print, you cannot use print as a variable. It doesn't make sense that, okay, you want to write the result of this and this, you now put print here. Even you will not understand it. So because it will not sound good. So I believe you will either use another thing rather than using that print. So just like what we did here, we are having X, we use X. I said we can use any name as our variable. That X was a variable that was holding the result of price minus tax is holding it. So it can be any name you like, but I said whenever you are declaring a variable, declare a very good naming convention that it will give meaning. For this now, thank you very much for asking us to change it. It's a very good one. Now if anybody sees this now, this is a very clean code because we have price, we know that this is the price, we have tax, we know this is the tax, we have result, we know that the result, which means the result between this minus this is storing as result. So this is very readable and this is very, very professional. Whenever we are declaring our variable, if you use a very good name. So do we understand, everyone? Do we on? Okay.
Yeah.
I know this may look somehow. Now, I was thinking someone will ask a. I know someone.
Yes.
I was thinking someone is going to ask that. Why is it that I wrote some things here and they are highlighted in green color? And remember, if I just write that same thing here, I said variable are containers. Variable is a container. Look at it now. You can see it is underlined. It is underlined here. But here, I wrote something in text here, but nothing is happening to it. Why? It's because this hash I put in front of it, it means I have used that hash to convert it to a comment. And a comment is a line of code that doesn't get executed. We are going to get to that. It is topic by topic. We only cover 2 topics today, which is variable and input. We are coming to comments and every other things that will make this course very interesting. Python is very, very interesting. And I'm telling you, I know this is the first class. It seems rough to us. Some of us, we are just seeing this kind of code for the very first time. But trust me, if you watch the video and stay consistently on it, you will know that this is very simple and this is very, very sweet. Very soon you will see we'll be building engine, we'll be building games, we'll be building those things. Just with this our code, we'll be doing those things and you will feel okay. So this is what is working on my phone, this is what is working in this particular place. You will start imagining things. But this is how we must just start. We cannot just move and go and start from the very top. We must start from the very little, which is variable. And we have treated variable and inputs today. We have treated variable and inputs today. Now I'm going to give us, there's no time again, I'm going to give us an assignment. I'll post it on the group. But the assignment is, you are going to write a line of code or write a program. Whenever I said write a program, it means you should write these things we are writing here. They are programs. And what is a program? A program is a code that works based on instruction. That is a program. And the act of writing a program is what you are coding or you are programming. Is the act of writing a program. Coding is the same thing as programming. So once I said we should write a program that is going to output your name. It's going to output your age. You can put any age, don't put your real age. Then yes, it's going to output your name and your age. Just try it, and this is how I used to do it. Whenever I give assignment, once you do it, you are not going to send the assignment to the group. You know, we have a lot of persons there you can send, and some person will just copy your code. It will not make us learn very well. You screenshot it with your code and also the result after running it. Then you send it to my DM. I will see it. If there's any adjustment, we'll do it together, rather than putting it on the group where everybody will just this one will copy this code. No, let everybody try it. By trying, you get more stronger. You will have error. Don't be scared of error. I used to.
Is this a code about a particular thing about your
code
age or what?
Okay.
What's the nature of the assignment?
Now, if you look at this code, let me give us hint. I want to make it simple. If you look at this now output.
I want us to know what we are writing.
This now outputs the result between the summation between price and tax. Now I said we should write a code that is going to print our name and our age. It's going to print your name, and it's going to print your age. With what we did in class today, write a code that's going to print your name and your age. You can put any age. You may not put your specific age. You may not even put your specific name. What I just want is how the code will work. So you just screenshot your code and also screenshot your result and send it to my DM. That should be done maybe tomorrow before our next class. Tomorrow there will not be class. Next tomorrow there will be class. That is how we do it. We jump a day and we have another day. So the video will be available for us to watch again and see any aspect we know we don't understand. So do we have any question? I don't want to be too fast.
So
Okay.
let me see if I got you, if I'm getting it clearly. The assignment is we'll write it one in the variable phase and in the input phase, because I know the variable, that one is constant. Our age and our name is constant. Are we writing it? Are we writing the program in variable? Then the second one, which is flexible, which is input. Do we write on
Yes.
two?
Yes.
That's two
Try the
programs.
two. Yes, good. Try the two. It will make you stronger. Try the two. But now there is something. Let me just quickly explain this before, so that you will not encounter much error while doing the program. Whenever you have this, whenever you declare a variable, for instance, that is going to hold a number, you don't quote your value. What did I mean? For instance, I write num is equals to 50. Do you notice says that I did not quote my 50? But if I said f name, for instance, is equals to Samuel, do you notice that I quoted this Samuel? Do you notice the two now? Everybody, do you notice the two? When it comes to number, integer, we are going to come to data type. When it comes to number, you don't quote a number. But when they are dealing with text, that is, I'm talking about your value. These are values here. This right hand side are values. 50 is a value. Samuel is a value. Whenever you are putting your value, if your value is a text, make sure it is inside a quotation. Please help me mute your mic. Make sure you quote it. But if it's a number, don't quote your number.
Please, can you show us? Can you show me again how you do your quoting?
Okay, good. Now, look at it. It's still on the screen. Look at 50. Look at this first one. Number is equals to 50. And I want to write first name. Which first name? I actually know that first name is not a number. It is a text. We call it string in Python. We are going to get to data type. We call it string. I just have to say it now so that we will not have error. Now, we want to write a text. It's not a number this time around. It's a text. I have to open my quotation mark. Either single quotation. Look at this is single. This is single quotation. Or double. You can use any. This is double. Look at. Then your text should be inside.
How do you bring this out? Is it from our keyboard?
On your keyboard, you are going to press your shift and you will see the quotation sign on your keyboard close to your enter.
Okay.
So once you bring it out, then your text, yes, from your keyboard, then your text should be inside the quotation. You will not have error. But when it comes to number, don't quote a number, only quote a text. Do we get it? Hello, do we get that? Okay.
Yes. But what about this? This quoting in question. Okay. This quoting about after putting the quoting and there is a space before the name, before the text. Will it affect it, or it has to be the quoting then exactly no space before the name? Like what you have now, what I'm seeing now, there is space. Okay. Deleted. There is space after the quoting. There is space before the name.
Okay. It's not going to affect it. You can do like this and come and write name here. Nothing is affecting it. Nothing is happening like this. You can see. Nothing will happen to it as far as your text is inside the quote open and the quote close, as far as it is inside. But you can see that it doesn't make sense like this, the way it is scattered like this. So that is the reason why I just collapse the space. But nothing will happen to it. You will not have any error. Okay, so we have good questions. I love this question. Do we have other questions?
quoting, what if it's 1 1? Because this
It's
quoting
double.
is 2.
Yes.
2 double. What if you use
Nothing
1 1?
spoil. It's still very good. It will
Do we
not.
have problem
It will
with
not have
1 1?
any issue when you have one quote. It's still the same. But the reason why I used to use double quotes, let me tell us now, is that, for instance, you want to write, look at this single quote now. You want to write, you are not coming, for instance. You want to write this, you are, the way they used to write it, like, you are not among, for instance. Or you're not coming. Let me just put this, you're not coming. Now look at this. You can see this is underlined. Can you see it? Because normally this you are is having a quote before the are. Look at it. This you are is having a quote. So now if you now have a single quote for you are, you now have another quote, which means it's 3. This will give you error.
Okay.
So because of that, I don't used to advise people to use single quote. This is what I used to do. But I will still write the same thing, and you'll see that it's not going to underline it. Now let's write it inside a double quote. This is a double quote. And inside my double quote, I now have you are not coming. Now, do you see any error? Can you see any error there? There's no any error, because a double quote can house a single quote, but a single quote cannot house 2 single quotes. I don't know if you get that. If I have a single quote here and I have another single quote here, it will give me error. But I have double quote here. I can have as many single quotes inside, as far as this double quote is starting it. So that's the reason why I used to start anything I want to do. I don't use single quotes. I use double quotes. But you can use single quotes. It's very okay. Nothing is wrong. Please. It's just for this. For in case you are using this short form of you are. That is where you can encounter error. Do we understand that? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
do we still have any?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
All
yes,
right, sir. Please
question,
ask your
sir.
question.
Yes. Line 7.
Okay.
Line 7. I want to know the purpose of using int. Is it because we want to use figure? That's why we use.
Good. You have even answered the question.
Tax rate. I want to know the purpose of int.
You have even answered the question. The reason why we use int was because what we want the user to enter is a number. Ints mean integer.
Okay.
If we want, for instance, now, I don't want to say this because, okay, let me just say, for instance, now I said name is equals to input. Look at input first. And now said enter your name, or enter your first name. Let me say first. Enter your first name. Enter your first name. Look at this now. You know what I'm expecting, or what I'm expecting from the user is not a number. Do we get that? Hello? Good. It's not a number. But this input now doesn't understand what is coming. So because of that, if I'm expecting a text and not a number, at the front here, instead of writing int, because it is not a number, int is to convert to a number, I will write str, which means string. I'll write this, str, string. So it's not going to give you error. Whatever the user enter here, even if the user the user should enter a number, it will not give you error. It will classify this, whatever the user enter, as a text. But if you don't do this, if the user enter a number, it will not. If the user enter a text like this, it will not give you error. But if the user mistakenly enter a number in this line here, you will have error. You will have error. So to avoid all those errors, if you are expecting an alphabet, put string, which means it's converting whatever the user enter into a letter. If you are expecting a number from a user, put int. That means it's converting everything the user enter into a number. If you are expecting an alphabet, put string. Because what it means is that any text that is quoted like this, we call it string in Python or in programming. We call them string. We don't just call them text. Anything called string, that means they are text. They are sentence. They are not numbers. Those are the things we call string. So do we understand now? Do we understand? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So
Yes,
do we still have question? If you have any question, you are confused about anything, please feel free to ask your question. We are going to tackle the question. Let me scroll up a little bit so that you can see. And let me close this. So you can ask any question and the question will be tackled. So if there's no question, let me just use this opportunity to just encourage us.